That was riveting, actually.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Okay, well now, honey, we've talked about what you might have done on Drag Race other seasons. Let's get into your season, the OG season.
Okay.
You were the OG original goddess of Drag Race.
A long time ago.
I know. It's like I wanted to introduce this by being, are you ready to talk about 2 weeks, 11 years ago?
Really, though?
In detail.
I hope I remember. I mean, it's been a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, we'll get into your memory and pull out what we can. Now, how did you first hear about Drag Race to even audition?
I heard about it actually through another entertainer in Las Vegas who had, I think, come across it online or something to that extent, and said, hey, you know, I mean, you might want to think about auditioning for this. And so I read up on it, and there really wasn't a lot of information. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I didn't even know if I was going to be, you know, driving race cars in drag. I mean, it was literally like nothing to kind of go by. But I went ahead and submitted the, you know, the packet, which was very small at the time. You know, now it's just, you know, 700 pages, and it was like, I think like 9 pages. I mean, it was like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I went ahead and did it.
And what was on your tape? Do you remember?
I do. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but the original premise or concept for Drag Race was the Qween and a designer.
Right. Yeah.
So Coco Vega, who was my gown designer and my costume designer at the time, we had got together and said, okay, well, let's do this together. So made the tape, and you had to show, of course, your drag closet, and you didn't have to even do a lip sync back in the day of, you know, of one of Ru's songs or anything like that. And I think it was supposed to be like 9 or 10 minutes long is all it was. And I had, in my home in Vegas, all of my drag in my garage. So I went out there and just kind of went through some different things and sent it in. I mean, it was just real easy peasy. Give me a call, let's do it. Yeah, yeah.
So then you find out you're going to be on. It's still not, no one knows what it is. So was it a big deal to you, or it was just like, okay?
I was at a beauty supply buying hairspray and hair dye. And my phone rang, and it was Drag Race, and they're like, congratulations, we just want to let you know, you've been cast on the show. And it was kind of like, oh, okay. Now what? Like, I literally was like, I don't really know what this means, because I had nothing to gear myself off of. It was basically pack 18 of your favorite drag looks, throw them in a suitcase. You get 4 suitcases, 50 pounds a piece. Show up, somebody's gonna pick you up, and we're gonna start filming you and call it a day. I mean, so it wasn't that I wasn't excited. I think I was, but I think it was more like, I don't know what to expect. So it was almost a little fear for me, I think, because I tend to really like to need to know what's going on. I need every I dotted and every T crossed, and I didn't have that. So it was kind of just walking into the unknown.
And then, were you guys sequestered that first season?
You would arrive the day or the night before, and then they come in and they inspect all of your stuff, pull everything out to make sure you don't have a cell phone or any electronics and things of that. And then the PA leaves and the door locks, and you kind of sit there and you think, wow, what have I done? You kind of, for me, there was a moment of like loneliness, because you're like, well, I don't have any way to contact the outside world now. I have a TV remote and whatever's on TV, and I'm on a deserted desert island for the next several weeks, and let's go. And I had never been in a situation to be on a set where there's 5 million lights and 5 million camera people and people coming in and out and wires and things everywhere. So it's a lot, and it's overwhelming, those first moments, because you're thinking, oh, I don't know, this might not have been the best idea.
Right.
So, yeah.
And now, was it filmed at RuPaul's Garage?
It was filmed through a Coke bottle. We know that. It was a very, very, very small set. The set itself was very tiny, and it was a learning curve. It was a learning process. I remember checking into the hotel, and it was a very mediocre establishment, and it was like, "Ugh, okay." But yeah, the runway was a lot smaller.
Oh,
the
yeah.
lighting, everything was just so different back then.
It was like when just that disco ball turning and
Yep.
4 judges lightly
That was
clapping.
about it. A couple of spotlights on the ground. Let's call it a day. Yeah.
And was that the first time on camera when you met RuPaul? Was when we saw her
Yes.
meet you guys on camera?
Yep.
And
And
what were your
he's-
impressions on that?
It was very overwhelming because I always had been such a huge fan of RuPaul. I mean, being an artist and being a kid when Supermodel came out, I mean, the CD was in there and I'm singing, Supermodel of the World while I'm drawing, pictures of Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
So it was like this iconic figure who I had looked up to for so many years. And then when you meet Ru and you have to do this because he's that tall, you think, wow, like you really are truly that legend. So it was amazing. But you're never around him in drag. And I had the opportunity on All Stars to be next to him while he was in drag, and that was even more surreal because he really is that picture perfect, flawless. I mean, I was awestruck when I was standing next to him in drag. So it was very surreal.
What were your favorite moments of that experience?
Of season 1?
Yeah.
I think looking back on it now, the fact that I was actually able to be a part of the very first season and having it be so groundbreaking. I think often that maybe had that season not been so trailblazing and so successful, perhaps we would not have had all of these other seasons. Being the very first person ever to actually be seen on Drag Race.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. That's something that I know that nobody obviously can ever take from me. And just the fact that the show has truly come full circle and become so profound to so many. And it's taken the art form of drag and it really has put it in the laps of middle America. People who only ever saw drag on Geraldo and Donahue and Sally Jesse Raphael,
Right.
you would have never thought about it any other way.